does a 20-year-old like write a song like this? Kia ora and welcome. My name is Stevie and I'm your vocal coach for today because we are going to be taking a look at Sienna Spiro with Die on This Hill. This woman has the most incredible voice. I have heard this song before, but I haven't seen her sing it live. We're going to be talking about how is she creating that like really signature sound that she has, and how is she using these fabulous muscles to create this sound, and what is she up to? Like really pernickety deep dive into what is she up to with her vocal technique. Let's just get straight to the video.
Got me to stay, said that you need me. Stop, cause his words don't have a meaning. No, they don't. At least not to me. And there'll be a day.
Oh my goodness me, is she just not the most fabulous singer? You feel the soul in her sound. You feel like she really means what she's singing, and I just love that. I do just have to say right at the start that we know that Sienna has nodules, okay? So nodules are, if you don't know, so the vocal folds open and close like this. Nodules are like little calluses on the, calluses, goodness me, on the vocal fold. And so what ends up happening is when you have a callus there, it creates like a little bit of hardness, and then that rubs against the other vocal fold. So where there is one, after a while there ends up being two. And so when you have these like little bumps on your vocal folds, that stops them from coming together properly. So this is what we're hearing, this like, I can't do it because I don't have nodules, but this like little, I mean, that's kind of like a really bad version of someone with nodules, but yeah, this like little squeak. I'm not poo-pooing, I'm just saying this is what it kind of sounds like. The little squeak is kind of the nodule touching and then the rest of the vocal fold touching. Let's just watch that again.
Got me to stay, said that you need me. Stop, cause his words don't have a meaning. No, they don't. At least not to me. And there'll be a day.
So we can see there as well, she's got a lowered larynx. Tell me to stay. And she's going, ah. So you don't have to have nodules to create this type of sound. It's a lower larynx with open vocals. Tell me to stay. And almost like a little bit of a dropping of the back of the throat there as well. You could almost drop the soft palate, which is like the doorway to the nose, to make the sound even more like that sort of like lowered, jazzy kind of sound. There we go. And not to me. That's created by just tightening the back of the throat there. And usually, because we don't just tighten one muscle, we're always like working a couple of muscles at once. So it's a little bit of the tongue root as well.
And there'll be a day.
So that's really typical. That little at the end there, that was the nodules. Okay, I'm going to stop pointing them out. Okay, just because a couple of singers have been singing this song and they're like, oh, Zoe, I want to sound like as cool as Sienna. You can sound as cool as Sienna, just maybe without the little crackle. We can bring in the crackle in a different way, okay? Talk about that a little bit later. So we can see that there'll be a day. She needed to almost, did you see that movement in the shoulders? We'll just watch that again.
To me, and there'll be a day.
Did you hear? There'll be a day. So one of the things with nodules is we do need to sometimes, I'm saying sometimes, not all the time, use a little bit more pressure underneath the vocal folds, like a little bit more back pressure in order to close those vocal folds, because they're not really going to want to close, and we need a thicker vocal fold contact to like overcome that little bit of, it's not a callus, it's a nodule, but like I just said to you that it's like a callus.
I'll be more creative. Poetic way to say I'm not leaving too.
we have to the world. So going into more of a falsetto sound there, and falsetto is actually when the vocal folds are stiff. So we're hearing air, but because the vocal folds are stiff, this isn't like she's shoving a whole bunch of air through the sound. The stiffness causes the vocal folds to just be open a little bit at the back. Well, they are only ever open at the back, but they're just like raised and they're open, and that's where the air is coming out. So if you're wanting to the world, you actually wanted to pull back on the volume and come closer to the microphone to create that sound.
I'll take my pride, stand here for you. No, I'm not blind, just seeing it through. You take my life just for the thrill. I'll take tonight and die on this hill. I always will.
Oh, goodness me. I love that. So we're hearing, I'll take my pride. That like moan and the sound and that feeling of the sadness is the thyroid tilt. And that is so important when it comes to singing higher. We're up on the C#5. Now, I'll take my pride. That's actually quite high for a lot of singers' chest voices. So let's just listen to that again, because you can really hear that moan in the sound.
You take my life just for the thrill. I'll take tonight and die on this hill. I always will.
You can hear that as well. You even saw the little bit of the take tonight. We've got a thicker vocal fold, so it's what we call mixed voice. Mixed voice is essentially just when you take your chest voice further up in the range, and I know that there are people online that says that it's not. Look, honestly, that everyone kind of has different opinions about what mixed voice is, but really the way that I teach it is we keep the vocal folds thick, but we allow them to thin as you're going further up in the range.
I know that I look stubborn and patient, but you wrote the book. I just took a page out to be loved and nothing more, and you kept your word.
So we can love at the more. I think maybe that was the note. So we had a glottal onset at the more, or whatever the words are. Sorry, Sienna, got the words wrong. So when we had that glottal onset where it's easier for us to get into a thicker vocal fold. Thicker vocal fold means that there's more vocal fold contact, which means that the sound is automatically going to be like less crackly or less breathy or less affected by the nodules. Okay, so that's also why when she's going, I'll take my pride, the sort of that crackly sound and the breathiness disappears because we have an increase in the subglottic pressure and a thickening of the vocal fold.
Do you want to meddle the way that someone leaves this world? Is all just levels? Tell me now. Oh, to me now. I'll take my pride, stand here for you. No, I'm not blind, just seeing it through.
Oh gosh, how does a 20-year-old like write a song like this? It's just so so stunning and just like so deep. It's just beautiful. I really want to like listen to it a little bit more to the lyrics. So I'm just going to like wash over the lyric a little bit more. A little bit. I feel like that needs an entire video just to look at the lyric, but it's not really my thing.
This world is all just levels. Tell me now.
So I just want to stop there because this has to be said that little sound, that little like ha ha ha, that's really only able to be made with that affected voice. Okay, so with the nodules. Now, I don't want to bang on about our nodules too much, but they are responsible for a lot of this signature sound. And we do know that singers do have nodules, but I want you to know that like they can be gotten rid of. So let's just go back on that because we're seeing an increase in the body energy here going on as well.
The way that someone leaves this world is all just levels. Tell me now, to me now.
Okay, so we could also hear there as well that the vibrato wanted to come in, but it was unable to come in a really, really steady stream. And that's because vibrato needs good vocal fold closure, and it also needs, okay, I'll say this. In the beginning, way back in the beginning of learning vibrato, or as I say, to vibrate, it needs good vocal fold closure, and it needs a balance of the breath flow against the vocal folds. So if you are looking to improve your vibrato, because I've got a lot of singers that I teach how to create vibrato because it's not created. How to manifest their vibrato, I should say, because it's not created. Vibrato actually comes to you through the coordination, like when you manage to actually coordinate all of these muscles in here. So you can apply for one-to-one singing lessons down in the description below, because this is a very, very specific technique that we need to be looking at the whole singer and not just going like, well, you can just use thyroid tilt and you'll be absolutely fine. It's a whole bunch of other stuff. So I love this mouth shape here. Let's just go back on that.
Someone leaves this world is all just levels. Tell me now, to me now.
She's on the B flat 4 there. So why does that even matter? And that's also because, well, it matters because essentially like most singers fall between certain ranges of where the passagio will occur. And the passagio is that it's called a passagio. It's Italian for bridge, passage. Yeah. So it's the area of going between the chest voice and the head voice, and going through what I like to call the passagio. I always call it the Bermuda Triangle, because it's like this sort of area of the voice where everyone kind of comes a little bit undone and loses their shit.
I'll take my pride, stand here for you. No, I'm not blind, just seeing it through. You take my life just for the thrill. I'll take tonight and die on this hill. I always will. I'll be here the whole night.
Okay, so we also see her sometimes like going to the side. I'm assuming she's either swallowing or doing a little yeah, because do you know what? Only doctors can say shit about someone's voice, honestly. And look, Sienna's well aware of what's going on with her voice. It's every artist's own decision. There would be certain things that I would want to be working with a singer on. I do have a couple of singers with nodules, and they want to bring them more into their sound.
I always will. I'll be here the whole night, just for the thrill. I'll take my pride, stand here for you. No, I'm not blind, just for the thrill. I'll take tonight and die on this hill. I always will. I'll be here the whole night, just for the thrill. I'll take tonight and die on this hill. I always will. I'll be here the whole night, just for the thrill. I'll be here 'cause I can. Yeah, I know you don't care. I know nothing could matter. God, I wish something mattered to you. I'll take my pride, stand here for you. No, I'm not blind, just seeing it through. Will you take my life just for the thrill?
When you hear singers like this, like, I mean, look, she's 20, okay? She's 20. She's, it's a bit of a shame. I have to say, it's a bit of a shame. And you can just hear that those nodules are the reason why she's not able to get better vocal fold contact, to get louder in this section. She's trying with all her might, and it's just not happening.
I always will. I'll be here the whole 'cause I can. Yeah, I know you don't care. I know nothing could matter. God, I wish something mattered to you.
Okay, and we can hear there is yo. That was that irregular vibrato coming in there. So you and the is going to tell you. Going on to that vowel is a little bit easier in order to close the vocal folds because we've got more of a trumpet shape, but that sound, it's almost like a bit of a call. So we are still on that B flat 4. Now that is, but like, I don't know her passagio, okay? But I mean, it sounds like that is still in a comfortable part of her chest voice register. And that vowel is going to be much, much easier to sit on that note. We can just see there's a lot of, and I think it would matter. You know, we're seeing a lot of effort. I think we're actually the maximum she's going up to is the C sharp 5 there. I mean, again, that is relatively high for some singers, but she wrote the song, so she's going to write it in a comfortable part of her range. So we can hear there as she's going further up in the range, you know, we've got this, we are going up into more of a, it's really a chest voice sound because she's needing that level of vocal fold closure in order to make sound up there. She's very close to the microphone, and you know, she's using everything in her toolkit in order to create a bigger, like a louder sound, more of a trumpet shape. She's lifting up slightly to stop too much of that laryngeal tilt in order to get, you know, to keep that thickness of the vocal folds.
No, I'm not blind, just seeing it through. Take my life just for the thrill. Will I take tonight and die on this hill?
We're actually relatively high. She actually went up to the E flat 5 there. So I'll take tonight. And so she's got that it doesn't sound high, and that's the really tricky thing. It's to do with so many different things, but like the larynx size, but also I think that she's dropping the larynx, so she's lowering the larynx a little bit in order to darken that timbre as she's going higher. And that's that sort of like jazzy kind of sound when we're dropping that larynx, almost dropping the back of the tongue to allow that darkening of the sound. Very jazzy at the end there is a and that's obviously not what she's saying, but I'm like first time listening to this performance. So again, you could see that she's wanting to get volume in there. She needed to increase that body pressure, like that body energy in order to get better vocal fold closure, but we're not hearing it coming out in volume. Okay, so that's really important as well, that you know you can sing it, but in your own way. Okay, don't try and like copy Sienna, because a lot of these sounds are due to those nodules, okay, which she chooses to continue, you know, to use and to accentuate in her sound because she wants that as an artist. And every artist needs to have that decision, you know, they need to make that decision for themselves. So I want you to sing this song in your own way and like what fits your voice. And you can play around with these sounds. But please, dear God, don't try and create like a carbon copy of this version of the song, okay? We learn through listening and trying to mimic those other singers. That's awesome. She's teaching us singing as well when we're copying these sounds. But when it's going into the performance side of things, don't be like, oh, but she did that note there and she did that little squeak there and she did this there. Like, make it your own, because it's got to come through your lived experience. And she's putting her emotions into the song to color the sound. And that's what I want you to do. And honestly, to be honest, I that's really what I think is the biggest difference between singers. We call it in singing the X Factor. And yes, I know it's a TV show, but it's called that because we call it that in arts. It's this unknown factor, what causes us to watch more of an artist. And I genuinely believe that that's got to do with how much you fucking mean what you say, okay? And when you're putting that, I'll take my life, standing for you, when you're doing that, you're putting all of that energy, and we just can't help but watch as humans. We love to see people suffer. So I really want you to think about that with your singing. And that is something that we do teach you inside our performance workshops, inside the Vocal Academy. We coach you through these things to make it so that people they can't look away from your singing, because it's an integral part of vocal training. You can apply it down in the description below. Wow, Sienna, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We haven't looked at Sienna before on the channel, so I'm going to put some other singer up here. I'm going to have a little look what's really similar in terms of the vocal technique that you can have a little look at. And I just want to say happy singing. Go out there and practice. Get that on. And in 2026, if you want to get better at singing, check out the links below. Ka kite anō.